Hey guys, if you've got a snare drum in your mix that's just not cutting through properly and you just can't get the sound out of it that you want, don't lose hope just yet. I'm going to show you some pretty aggressive processing to try and bring our snare drum to life, get it to cut through the mix and punch a lot harder before we throw in the towel and reach for a sample. So let's see what we can do. Here's our raw snare sound. And here's what we're going to take it to. And then let's hear them in the mix. All right, let me show you how we get there. Okay, first things first, we're gonna kill the cymbal bleed because that is just gonna get in the way of a nice snare sound for us. So the first plugin we wanna load up is FabFilter Pro MB. Now you know from a couple of other videos that for me, this is the plugin for killing cymbal bleed. Now what we need to do is set up a high shelf. So we click over on that far right hand side, bring it over to around 2.5K, and then we're gonna change the attack to fastest, release to fastest, and then for this, because I'm being aggressive, we're gonna go all the way down, not up, down. And then we're gonna change it to expand mode, and we're gonna set the band over here in the expert settings to free. And we're gonna put our band around this mid-range here, lower mids. This is gonna trigger this band, and so we're not gonna be getting all the cymbal noise, we're gonna be getting the meat of the drum triggering this expander over here. So let's check this out. I drag that over a little bit more. Cool, done. Now, next thing in the channel strip, let's just go with our SSL channel strip here. Going to do a little bit of an expander on here, just a bit of gating. So, release time around 0.6 seconds. Get it so it's just triggering off the snare. About -20 on the expander there. Perfect. All right, so a little bit of compression. Go to like a 8:1 ratio, something a bit higher for this. Fairly fast release. Now, let's do some aggressive EQing. So I want this drum to have some low end beef and a nice cutting top end. So let's find that low end bump that we want to boost, probably somewhere around 160 hertz. Yeah, just down a little bit, 140 hertz. All right, sounding a bit boxy, so let's bring in that top end. Yeah, I want the shelf, the bright, airy kind of top end. Around 8K, 9K. All right. Let's maybe cut some mids out of this as well. Some honky kind of stuff in here. Yeah. Remember, we're being aggressive. All right, let's leave it like that for now. Sounding kind of cool. Might need to pull our gain down a little bit. Boosted the volume quite a bit. All right. Now, the next thing we're going to do is grab a Transient Designer. So I've got the SPL Transient Designer Plus. I'm going to crank the attack on this. Boost the sustain. Yeah, maybe back the output off a little bit. The problem with this plugin is there's not really like a master out. If you pull the output gain out, it actually affects how it's hitting the limiter within the SPL Transient Designer. So if you have a look, if I pull this output gain down, it stops compressing here. So kind of a bad design there. I think they should have a master gain. But anyway, so we'll just pull it down a few dB and then we'll add a gain plugin afterwards just to make sure we're not getting too hot on our channel here. Yeah, bringing that down a bit. Now we're going to follow this up with some 1176 compression, and we're just going to squash this a bit. So fast attack, fast release, 4:1 ratio. It's just adding a bit of meat to the sound now. Maybe pull the mix back a smidge. Sounding cool. Let's get Decapitator on here. So a little bit of distortion, saturation, just kind of rounding the sound out a little bit and adding some color to it. Just going to stick with the A style for now. The N sounds cool and the T sounds pretty cool as well. But let's just pull the mix back a little bit. Let's just go at 50%. All right, follow that with a little clipper. Basically just clipping plugin, just to catch any random peaks. Just gonna rein this in. Let's hear where we were originally. And where we are now. So it's almost got that kind of snare sample sound about it. Like it's now nice and tight. Cymbal bleed's not a problem. It's slapping. Let's see how it sounds in the mix. And how it was before. Let's hear it with everything. Cool. And then what we can do is bring in a little bit of reverb on the snare. So I've just got this on the snare bus. You could just make a send for this, but I'm just being a bit lazy about it. Only 13% of this mix in here. And this is just like a short drum ambience reverb. So this. Yeah, something like that. Just adds a bit of thickness and space to the snare sound. And if you wanted to, you could blend these together. So we could take our raw snare sound. Let's put Pro and B on here and just dial it back a little bit. Just to rein that cymbal bleed in a little bit. And it's important to use the exact same settings. So that's why we copy paste that over, just because if they're slightly different, you might get some weird phasing going on. Now let's hear what that sounds like when we blend them together. Pretty cool. So that can just add a little bit of the original sound back in and just act as a little bit of a mix knob, bit of a blend between the really processed snare sound and a very raw snare sound. And you can find that sweet spot between the two. And then if you felt like that wasn't enough, then you could go and grab a snare sample and blend it in with that. But that is a great start to what the snare originally sounded like, to actually making it sound like a punchy rock snare in that mix. Hope you guys found this useful. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. And I'll see you guys in the next video.